there, it's Natasha and thank you so much for joining me today. I am back today with another very simple fun fold card. Doing some of these cards is just a really fun way to change up your card making just a little bit. Even though this card is a really simple kind of card in the end, it's fun and a little bit different for me, so I hope that you enjoy it too. I am starting off with a full sheet of, I think this is the Lawn Fawn Kraft cardstock. So it starts off as 8.5 by 11, and I'm going to cut this down to make 2 side folding cards. This is how I cut down and create all of my own card bases and card fronts and things. For this one, I find the easiest way to use 2 full-size cards, and then you'll see how they come together to create this fun fold. So I do want to mark back, we're about 3 inches in from the left. So at the moment, this card is opening to the left. And I know that is the wrong way, but bear with me, you'll see in just a minute. And there are actually a whole lot of different ways to kind of create this card. This is just how I kind of find this easiest for my brain, but I'm also going to find the very center of this panel. And so I'm just, you can see I've got a little crisscross there just to find the center. And then I want to find that left-hand center mark. And I'm also going to just draw a line straight down from my 3-inch mark to what would be the left hand side of my card. So you can kind of see all my drawings there, if that makes sense. And then all I'm going to do from here is I'm going to bring in my trimmer and I'm going to cut off both of those corners that we have created. Now you probably don't even need to measure this. You could really just cut off one of the corners and then flip it over like I just did there, and then you would be able to kind of get the exact amount of same corner cut off on the other side. But I just felt like measuring it this time round, which is unusual for me. And then I have that nice crisscross there in the middle where I can see exactly where I want to line up my square die to cut a hole in this card. So as I said, that's the reason why I kind of found the center of the card so that I could keep it when I was putting this all together. And this is how the card will go together with the 2 card bases. So you can see that this flap will kind of come over from the right to the left and create a nice little window for us to pop something into. So first things first, I have a square die. Again, you could use a diamond, circles, ovals. You can use anything you would like to in this place, but I quite like the look of the square. I kind of feel like it kind of goes with the flow of the rest of the cuts on this card. I'm using a little bit of low-tech tape. This is the mint tape from scrapbook.com. I have tried a whole lot of low-tech tapes. I bought them all, and this one is by far the best that I settled upon. And I have bought it in both the 1-inch and the 4-inch rolls, which have just come out, and both of them are excellent. So this is what I am going to stick with for my low-tech tape. I'm just using a little rubber on the end of my pencil to rub out any pencil marks at this point, and you can see how everything is kind of coming together. Now this is where we need to start putting the card together itself, and then of course we need to kind of decorate it. Obviously, this is where you can kind of go to town and put your complete own spin on it. This is the Honeybee, the Bee's Knees paper pad 6x6. I have fallen in love with this paper pad. I am using this so much. I know that it's centered around bees. However, I don't think I've done a single bee project using it. I just really like the colors. I like kind of all the patterns. I'm really enjoying this. And I have this kind of gorgeous turquoise little fine dots here, and this is set off really nicely with the Kraft cardstock in the background. I am creating a 4 by 5.25 inch panel, and this is going to sit right on one of the card fronts. And again, this is just going to leave a nice little border because these 2 card bases are 4.25 by 5.5 inches. So it leaves a nice little delicate frame around the outside, and I'm just using a little bit of liquid glue so that I can shift these around and get them exactly in place where I need them to go. This is where I can start putting the cards together. You're welcome to use double-sided tape or just double-sided adhesive or anything here. I prefer to use liquid glue, again, because I have that time to wiggle it, make sure it's exactly in place and everything is lined up before the glue sets. So I'm just adding a nice amount. I want to add it right to the edges to make sure that everything is not going to kind of come apart and it doesn't look like I've put 2 different cards together. And then you'll see here how they come together, and I just kind of line everything up before I push everything together and make sure it is nicely all sealed. Now, as I said, from here you can definitely put your own spin on it. I am going to go with a gorgeous flower to go right in the center, and I'm going to actually use a stamp set. I hope this person doesn't mind me saying, but this lovely lady called Wendy, if I just use her first name, she sent me a little box of bits and pieces, and this one was in it. This is the Hennah Elements. And I actually really wanted to use that big stamp, the big flower down the bottom, but it was just a little too big for what I needed. So I'm going to create a nice dimensional flower using just this one stamp. So any flower stamp that you have in your stash, you're going to be able to do this with. I'm stamping it out in some VersaFine Onyx black ink and then heat embossing it just for a little bit of gloss, but this step is totally not necessary at all. And then I am going to melt it. I wanted to get 3 of these layers because I'm going to add some layers to this kind of flower just to give it a little bit more interest and a little bit more dimension off that card base. So just a really big thank you, Wendy. I appreciate all of those little bits and pieces that you sent out. And now to color these, I am just going to use some yellows and oranges, some spiced marmalade, mustard seed, and squeezed lemonade. And that is because I have the teal kind of turquoisey color for the background, and these are going to be set off really nicely. Oranges and yellows are going to be really bright against that teal. So you probably shouldn't copy what I do here, so this is probably not a good idea, but this is what I always do. I give the lid of the Distress Oxides a very gentle squeeze, and that way I get some ink in the top of the lid there, and then I'm able to just use that instead of popping it down on an acrylic block or something. I know that some people said they often dab off their, when they're like blending ink, they often dab off their sponges into the lid, and then that way they have extra ink there when they want to try this out. But I haven't broken any lids ever doing this. However, I'm sure it's probably not recommended. But anyhow, I am going to fussy cut these out. You'll see with one of them, I just fussy cut out the center, and then the other two, I'm going to completely fussy cut out the flowers. If you want to do fussy cutting, these types of images are the best because this whole stamp set has really thick black lines. They're not delicate, dainty little outlines for the flowers. They're nice and thick. So you can pretty much, if you are not a great fussy cutter or you don't thoroughly enjoy it, then these are the perfect kind of stamps. And just to cover up any little bits that we did do, I always put that that brush marker, around the edges, and then that way it covers up the white core of the cardstock, and it looks like you are the most perfect fussy cutter. And then I did curl up the leaves just a tiny little bit. I offset those two and used a little bit of foam tape in between, and then a tiny little bit of foam tape that will go on the center, and we have a nice dimensional flower. Now I had this scrap sitting on my desk from the last couple of cards I have done. This is from the Hexagon Frames set, and I am just going to cut out a square, and this square is going to go in the middle there of our little card design, just because I wanted to kind of take a little bit of a break from all of that turquoise. So this is going to go right in the center, and I can line it up nicely. A little bit of liquid glue, and then I will put it right through, and then that way I know that everything is lined up and still going to look gorgeous. I also want to quickly apologize for my voice. I am still sick. I have not been able to shake this cold that I have. I did my last voiceovers more than a week ago, and I was giving my voice a good week or so break, hoping that it would come better and I wouldn't have to do any more voiceovers that sounded sick. But I apologize, I still do, and I haven't been able to shake it. We are absolutely fine here in New Zealand. We are in lockdown. So I have had very little time to craft because I have the kids home with me all day, every day, which we are enjoying and making the most of. So I apologize that my voice sounds like this, and I hope it will go away soon. I'm going to stamp out a couple of sentiments here. This is from the Sentiment Strips 2 from Altenew, and I'm going to pop 2 of them, top and bottom, but again, you could choose what you wanted to do for this or how you wanted to pop sentiments on. I will link all of the products that I have used in today's video down in the description box below if you are interested in shopping or having a little bit of a look. Other than that, thank you so much for watching. If you could give me a big thumbs up and make sure that you are subscribed to my channel, I would appreciate that so very much. Other than that, I really look forward to seeing you in the next video, and I hope that you have enjoyed this quick fun fold card. Thanks, bye!